Given that the Zombies had only 2 UK hits and released just 1 LP during their 3 years of 60s stardom, it's all going rather well for them. The band are back with a critically acclaimed album, Different Game, while officially being a museum attraction. 4 original members were welcomed into the Georgian splendour of St Albans Museum for an evening of chat and acoustic music on Friday, marking the opening of The Zombies Come Home, an exhibition that harks back to their 1961 formation as schoolboys in the city. It's been a curious, roller coaster career. The band split at the end of 1967, notching up their biggest hit 2 years later. A 6-date reformation of singer Colin Blunston and keyboard player Rod Argent in 1999 never ended, and now they're a transatlantic force, inducted into America's Rock Roll Hall of Fame in 2019. The exhibition, initially stymied by COVID, is now more deserved than ever. It's great, Argent, 78, says cheerfully. My parents always lived in St Albans and I was a choir boy at the cathedral. My cousin, Jim Rodford, bassist in Rod's post-Zombies band Argent and for the Kinks for 19 years, turned me on to rock and roll by playing me Elvis's Hound Dog when I was 11, in 1956. It turned my world around and made me feel that as soon as I was old enough I had to form a band. The schoolboys got together, creating intelligent R&B pop combining Blunston's delicate vocals and Argent's dancing piano runs. Their first single, the classic She's Not There written by Argent, made the top 10 at home but topped the US Cashbox charts, spawning huge American tours. It became the first self-written #1 single by an English group in America after the Beatles, says Argent. We were touring there and, 19 years old, I called my mum. She said, "You've just been on the 9 o'clock news." Those days were a fairy tale. Just 8 years after I'd first seen Elvis, Colin and I and the rest of the band wandered up the drive at Graceland and knocked on the door. We were like kids wanting Elvis to come and play. But his dad said sorry, he's away filming but he loves you guys. Much later, a DJ told us that Elvis had 3 of our songs on his jukebox. Yet the only other single to trouble the charts at the time was Tell Her No, also in 1964. The band, Argent, bassist and other main songwriter Chris White Blunston, guitarist Paul Atkinson and drummer Hugh Grundy, were musically gifted, but were not well managed, says Argent. The 2 writers had a very good income yet the others didn't get anything like what they deserved. Then Paul said, "I'm getting married and I've got no money. I'm going to have to leave and get a job." Preparing to record their second album, they decided that if they didn't get another hit they would call it quits. There was no hit and they'd walked away before the album, Odyssey and Oracle, the misspelling by the psychedelic covers artist proved too difficult to alter, was even released. It didn't come out in the US until producer Al Kooper, who had played on Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde, championed it and picked a single, Time of the Season, which shot to #1 there. In fact, says Argent, it became a #1 pretty much all over the world except the UK. Here it's been out 5 times but was never a hit. Extraordinarily, even if we play to a really young audience, everybody knows it. We were offered $1 million to tour and could have got back together. But we wanted to move forward, not rake over the coals. Blunston, 78, says, Rolling Stone named it one of the 100 top albums of all time. It was a strange situation, we'd all moved on to other things. That was 1969, well after we'd split up. Rod had formed a production company with Chris and they produced my first solo album, 1 Year, with the hit single Say You Don't Mind. Unscrupulous US promoters then created fake Zombies to cash in. One of the touring, original Zombies, combos featured Dusty Hill and Frank Beard, later of hairy Texan blues rocker ZZ Top. The original tribute band, Laughs Argent, whose own band, Argent, by 1972 had hit the US top 5 with Hold Your Head Up and later created rock anthem God Gave Rock and Roll to You. The Zombies didn't carve out a new career until the 21st century, becoming a regular in colourful spots like the Boom Boom Club at Sutton United Surrey Ground, before winding up with US management and huge US concerts. It was still very much a St Albans affair, featuring Jim Rodford until his death in 2018, and his drummer son Steve. And there have often been two zombies side by side. In 2008, the 40th anniversary of Odyssey and Oracle, the four surviving original members, Atkinson died in 2004, reconvened. We'd never played it live. We were going to play one night, but that grew to 3. Then more, and we took it to the States. Says Argent. On the first night our manager said, "Oh, Paul Weller's in the queue outside." I said for goodness sake invite him in. He came all 3 nights, singing along, and bought us a magnum of champagne. Robert Plant was there too. Now, though, the band concentrate on their music of today with Different Game, a psychedelia-tinged album complete with string quartet. That doesn't mean they can't revel in the exhibition. So what's in it? Well, not Blunston's Aaron sweater. That's still at the Rock Roll Hall of Fame. They'd asked for anything from the early days, he says. I found this old jumper. I was wearing it when we recorded Odyssey and Oracle, lush, pure white, long on the hips. It was at the bottom of a cupboard, shrunk out of all recognition, no longer snow white. But there is a statuette marking their original US #1, and which has been in the Hall of Fame. From this year another statuette comes from South by Southwest, the influential festival in Austin, Texas, celebrating their career. There are guitars, including a replica of one Buddy Holly played. It's a wonderfully engraved guitar, presented to us by Buddy's widow after we became ambassadors to the Buddy Holly Educational Foundation, says Blunston. The Zombies story is told in new cinematic documentary Hung Up on a Dream, directed by Robert Schwartzman, nephew of Francis Ford Coppola and cousin of Nicolas Cage. Tom Hanks is executive producer. The film has been screened at the prestigious Woodstock Film Festival in New York. Only a week ago was a highlight of the Dock and Roll Festival at London's Barbican and got a last-minute St Albans showing last night, TV streaming to come. Today there is an exhibition of the work of Odyssey and Oracle artist Terry Quirk and Vivian Boucherat, wife of original bassist Chris White, a jazz brunch with current guitarist Tom Toomey and a blues evening in memory of Jim Rodford. There's also a walking map of the city featuring Zombies landmarks, and even a stall on the market. A spring UK tour is about to be announced and they have secured the rights to all their early recordings, meaning stylish re-releases are on the cards. Who'd have thought we could be museum pieces? Laughs Blunston. But we try to get people to understand that we get our energy out of what we're doing now. The Zombies exhibition is open now, stalbantsmuseums.org.uk. Different Game is on Cooking Vinyl Records. Tour updates, thezombiesmusic.com.